Hey, Kelly, how are you?
I'm fine, sir. How are you?
I am doing good, man. I tell you, you got some people around this table that really like you, and I'm eager to find out why. I mean, it's like,
I give
walk
good
on
gifts.
water, huh?
I give good gifts. That's why.
All right. Well, that's I see that BGMC logo behind you. Back in the day, when I was the church ministries director in NorCal, David Boyd, I mean, you guys used to hook us up. We would go back there and get jackets. Now it's like you go back there and you get a cheap t-shirt or something. It's like you guys have significantly downgraded the gifts. So, but times are different, aren't they?
They are. I can't say anything about that. I'm not over BGMC. I'm just a lover of it and believe in it,
You're a wise,
discipleship.
you're a wise man. You're a wise man, Kelly. Well, hey, listen, we've been eager to have you, and Sean and Linda have known about this ministry, but we wanted to record the Zoom call to really make our pastors aware of what you have to offer that is pretty powerful. I mean, I remember years ago when I was a director of church ministries in NorCal, I used to say, I've got way more children's workers in our churches than I have youth or young adult or whatever. So you've kind of created a great resource called Hydrate. And tell us a little bit first about yourself, how long you've been at headquarters and where you came from before you went there.
Great. I'd love to. So obviously my name is Kelly Presson, and I was born and raised in Southeast Missouri. Served in 3 churches in my lifetime, and I've done youth and kids ministry. Love both. I mean, I was next gen before next gen was cool, is what I like to say. I'm all about it. And I was in Midland, Michigan for 10 and a half years when Mark Intzminger approached me about coming to be the director of leadership development, something we'd never had in the children's ministry department. And so you sure want to give credit where credit was due. Mark said, we have to have something for all of our children's ministry people so they can be trained without having to take the week off and spend the money that it takes for them to travel across the country to come to our conference. We want them to come, but everybody just can't do that.
Yeah.
And so that's where Hydrate was born. And I've been in full-time on staff at children's ministries or youth position for 24 years. I've been here. June 4th will begin my 6th year here.
Wow. Well, that's amazing. So we're going to kind of dig in a little bit deeper. But how did Hydrate come about? I understand that, before you even came to headquarters, you kind of had existence. Tell us about the genesis of the ministry.
Well, I don't know that they're completely connected, but for years, the thing that I was best known for, the thing that I'm most proud of, was I put together a training thing, kind of like a mini master's commission within our church. And I raised up young people to do ministry and discipled them. I have kids that are missionaries. I have kids that are pastors, obviously, in vocational ministries as well. But, what I determined is if I could get a young person involved in ministry and in discipleship, in relationship with myself and some of our leaders, that they'd never be satisfied to sit and watch church happen, ever.
Yeah.
And I've seen that happen. I want to give you my greatest compliment. I did this program that I'm speaking of, this discipleship ministry program in Arkansas. I was there 8.5 years. And I had been gone for 10.5 years when I took this job, and a pastor who I had never met, was pastoring the church in Arkansas. He said, "You're one of my spiritual heroes. I've never met you, but because of what you left behind in this church." That was almost 11 years ago.
Wow. Wow.
Because done correctly, you're building an army, man. They just want, it's next gen. The people,
Yes.
the teenagers they're investing in the ones under them, and they're leading them. And then they're sad when they leave, like they're going to get married, they're going to move. They're like, man, I'm sad. They cry for about 30 seconds and they're like, okay, now it's my turn, right? My turn to be one of the lead. Yeah. So I'm all about it. I love it.
Tell us in a nutshell what Hydrate is.
Well, it's a lot to unpack. And so, I don't want to just go on and on. I've spent basically my baby for about 4.5 years. So there's a lot there. So Hydrate Essentials is our first year option. Again, there's not prerequisites. You can do this however you want, but our first year option is called Hydrate Essentials. And it is 36 videos teaching from some of the best kids ministry leaders that I'm aware of on certain subjects. So really, I think it's good to talk about the genesis. You mentioned that earlier. When I came to the office, we wanted to create this digital platform where people could learn on their own time, in their own space. And so I didn't want to presume that I know what everybody needs. And so I reached out to every children's ministry leader that I'm aware of that I could get a hold of and said, listen, what would you say are the top 10 things a children's pastor needs to know, children's ministry leader needs to know? And from that list that came in, we determined that 1 year, 36 videos wasn't going to be enough.
Wow.
And so the videos are about 15 minutes each. They're very hard hitting, they get to the point, because kids ministry leaders are busy people. Most of them have families. A lot of them have jobs outside of, of their ministry. And who's got time anymore to watch an hour video? Like, really, who's got time for that? No matter how good it is. And so the Holy Spirit, being who he is, helps me decide, we're going to put a 15-minute time limit on these videos. Later, a couple of 3 years later, I'm talking with the guys from Right Now Media, because we're looking at Hydrate, and he's like, you're right on. All of our research says at 17 minutes, it doesn't matter who you are. Francis Chan, you name it, viewership drops off the table. Wow. And so I was, it's just good to know the Holy Spirit was with us as we're planning it. So for Hydrate Essentials, each month we encourage you to consume 3 videos each month. You can do it however you want. That's how we can encourage you to do it. You're going to get a video each month on leadership, because we're involved in leadership, obviously. The second video is going to be around discipleship. And how not just you need these things in the life of a kid, you need them to be powerful in prayer, you need them to be worshipers, but here's some ideas on how you can institute this in the life of your kids. And then third, you're going to get something really practical. Here's how to do some great object lessons. Dick Gruber is going to teach you about effective altar ministry, response times, classroom games, just things that are super, super practical that fit the life of a kids ministry leader. And then something that doesn't get talked about much, but for me, as someone, who had, I didn't have any paid staff other than my preschool director, but I had a huge team of people, because in kids ministry, there's these ratios you've got to work with. You have to have people in that room, depending on how many kids you have. So I had a huge team, and I was trying to put into them, and to resource them and to encourage them to train them. Well, with Hydrate, every single video comes with a full script, a PDF. So, Pastor, if there's something you like that you want to share with your group, you want to teach, you don't have to listen to it and type, you just flip it out and put it in your own notes.
That's brilliant, man.
Yeah. It comes with a
full year one is essential. Now, is the pricing based on the pods? Like, you pay a certain amount for all of year one, or is it subscription for all levels?
No, great question. Each subscription has its own price, extremely low price. So programs similar to this are anywhere from $700 to $1,200, $1,300. Ours is $150, because we recognize that 69% of our churches are 200 or less. And the people who could use this training the most, they don't have a large budget. And so for $150 a year, you can subscribe to Hydrate Essentials. If you do Hydrate Essentials, you can do their second year option, Hydrate Amplify, for the same $150, because we're going to give you a $60 coupon code that takes it from $210 to $150, because you're an alumni.
Okay.
And I speak just briefly about Hydrate Amplify. It's probably the jewel in the rough. Everybody's not aware of it. But it is actually even better than Hydrate Essentials, or we wouldn't have called it Amplify. There's some things on there that I have never seen taught anywhere else, but boy, are they valuable. For instance, Alton Garrison was teaching a leadership chapel here, about dealing with conflict and difficult people. Now, if you've been in ministry anytime at all, you know that's an important thing. You need this training. So
Yes.
I approached Brother Allerton afterwards and I said, would you film this for us for Hydrate? He's like, sure. I said, but you have to do an object lesson because all of our videos have an object lesson. He said, okay, but you have to write it. and so I wrote the object lesson and he did it. So, I mean, that's one example. I could go on and on. I don't know how much you want to hear, but I could go
That's
on
a
and on.
great example. I mean, children's ministry today, there is a lot of conflict because you're dealing with people's kids that are important to them. And every parent brings a different set of priorities, whether it's, I want fishy crackers in the nursery or I don't want fishy crackers. I mean, I've seen those require conflict resolution meetings in and of themselves. So let me ask you this, Linda's got some questions too, and I want to transition to her in a minute, but can volunteers, churches that do not have a full-time children's pastor but they've got a couple that volunteer, would they benefit from the essentials package?
Absolutely. So initially we wrote it with whoever's kind of the leader in mind, like the lead, but sometimes in a smaller church, you've got a group of ladies, 2 ladies who are really helping lead the charge. Hydrate comes subscription based, so it's all about a login. You're paying for the login. We don't mind for you to share what you've learned, or even if you wanted to get together and you have one login and 3 people watch it, we're okay with that as well. But yes, the answer to that is yes. What I tell pastors all around the country who are looking to hire someone and they can't find someone to hire, or they don't have the budget, to really hire someone full-time, somebody to move if they can find them, is there somebody in your church that has a heart for kids ministry? If you do, we can train them for 2 years for $150 a year. And then we have a 3rd, 4th, and 5th year option that's a little more robust with a higher fee as well. Okay.
Awesome. Well, we've got our church ministry team here, Sean, Linda, and they tell me you walk on water. So Linda has some questions that she wants to run by to help educate people about this opportunity.
So, hi Kelly, I'm Linda. Hi Linda. We have had several kids pastors in our network go through Hydrate, and a lot of them have gone through that 3rd level. So I don't know if you can answer this. I don't know if you even have the knowledge of this, but do you see a higher retention with those who maybe go through Hydrate? They stay longer where they're at.
Right. I don't have any numbers to back that up, but I can tell you I hate to use the word common sense. That sounds derogatory. I don't mean it that way. But we all know that if a kids ministry leader is discouraged, or they walk out feeling like they failed, right? Or what they did was just babysitting, it wasn't producing, they're not going to stick around very long. If we can encourage a kids ministry leader, if they can walk into that classroom feeling equipped, right, to succeed, and then they go home and they're like, man, what we did today mattered. They're long haul, they're going to be around. And I want to reach back to something that we're doing. We're doing some creative conferences. And David Boyd, who we mentioned earlier, has been around quite a while. He talked about, there was a group that way back in the day, used to go to the Fellowship of Christian Magicians conferences. And he said, I got to thinking, all those guys are my age or older, and every one of them are still doing children's ministry.
Wow.
If we can equip them, and we can, how it is, what happened to us in ministry when you catch the bug, when you're bitten, like, I can't not do this. Right. When I can set up one of my volunteer leaders to pray with some children to receive Jesus or receive the baptism of the Holy Spirit, I ain't got to worry about them coming back. You know what I mean? They're coming back. They can't wait to be involved in some more of that. And so again, without having tracked all that, I can tell you that people who feel connected and equipped, they're going to last longer because they're feeling successful. Does that make sense?
It does. Absolutely. I agree. So when we share this with our network, tell us how they get started. What do they do?
Well, it's really pretty simple. As far as our old systems, sometimes our old systems go, it's pretty simple. Just go on to kidminhydrate.com and you can register right there. What I try to tell people, Hydrate is set up like a cohort style. So it starts, everybody starts at the same time. We kind of go through together. So registration is open in January and February. So you can register right now at kidminhydrate.com, whichever level you'd like to explore. And then we'll start in March. The registration will close and we'll all start going through together in March. And then there's another opportunity. So twice a year, there's another opportunity. July and August registration will open for a September class launch. And I tell people, think of it as a university, think of it as college. You can keep your notes, you can keep your books, but you can't take your professor home. So at the end of your year, you lose access to the platform, but you can download all the notes, you can download the scripts, you've got everything that's ever been spoken there. But yeah, I think that's important. And we let our people know that it's coming. Hey, you got a month left, make sure and, download anything you want downloaded. And you have to know the videos are not downloadable, right? So, but all your notes, the scripts, all those things are.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Before we wrap it up, what I'd like you to do, Kelly, is real quick, without going into detail on each of those 36 sessions and essentials, man, run us as quickly as down the list. So give people an idea of the topics. Could you do that for us?
I can. And I almost pulled up the list, but it almost never happens when anybody asks, but I can get them pretty close. So like, seriously, usually people like, by the time I get finished, you're like, wow, that's so much information. I can't stand anymore. So we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about being powerful in prayer. We're going to talk about teaching kids to be worshipers. We're going to talk about teaching them to be bold in their faith and how to share their faith. Again, we want to encourage that kids ministry leader. The very first one is going to be about staying fresh spiritually and emotionally and mentally, and how important it is for the long haul of your ministry and your family to stay fresh. Brian Dollar teaches an incredible two-part series on, dealing with death and tragedy, because I can't even tell you how many times I've had kids ministry leaders contact me and say, thank God for that, because we've had this happen and I had no idea what to do, right? I had no idea what to do. I could go on and on. Nursery ministry. I was a full-time kids pastor on staff at some fairly large churches. I didn't know anything about nursery ministry, but they were all looking to me to have the answers. Right. So this is the one time I actually reached outside of the AG to speak to a lady for our preschool department, because we had some preschool stuff in there too, because she was the best I knew. We're going to teach you about the importance of preschool ministry. We have a professor from Baylor University on here who's going to just load you up with ammunition of why your preschool ministry needs to be outstanding. Again, because so many times leaders are working outside of their sweet spot because they're over nursery and preschool. So I want to send you the best people that I could find to tell you exactly how to do that. We're going to talk to you about how to best utilize your space. Most of our churches, again, they have to share rooms. They have to share facilities. Here, you may not have all the budget to do something that you see at one of these large churches, but let's tell you how you can make the most out of your facility. All right, let me move to Amplify. So Amplify, again, you're going to see a theme here. The very first one, check this out. I have Dr. Litchie, who is one of the head psychologists at Emerge Ministries. Do you know what it would cost to have one sit down with Dr. Litchie? I don't, but I'm sure it's more than $150.
I think Sean probably has it in the budget. So real quick, Kelly, so topics that are very, very needed in the local level, things like recruiting, conflict resolution with parents, scheduling workers, check-in procedures, child protection setups. Are those dealt with on the essential level?
Yes, I think every one of them is approached on essentials level. Yes, okay. We go a little deeper. That's why we call it Amplify. We're turning up the volume. We go a little deeper and amplify on some of those situations. But yes, we have one on child safety. I teach one on building and keeping a leadership team. I'm pretty sure it's a two-parter because that's just a lot to cover, especially 15 minutes at a time. Yes, the answer to that is yes.
Awesome. Well, man, I appreciate you giving us a little window, and we're going to actually post this video to our entire ministry network. We'll make it available on texting as well. So man, thank you for your time, Kelly, and thank you for empowering the local church, man. We, everybody wants to be a parachurch ministry today, chase their dreams. We need more guys like you that help the church be more effective and successful. So, man, God bless you. May your tribe increase.
Hey, I appreciate that, man. It's my joy. It's my absolute joy. I love doing it. Can I tell you a story? You may not keep this, but right now, we're unveiling the World Prayer Center. There's 150 pastors over there right now. Unbelievable. I took a break to come talk about this because I'm passionate about it. But I ran into a lady who just became a U.S. children's missionary. I'd never met her before. This is the beauty. And she says, hey, I already know you. I've seen every one of those videos. I know all you. I know all these people. I'm connected because I know them. I feel like I know you. And what is that worth to us as a fellowship? That our people somewhere in Alabama at some small church, they know us. They know us. We're not just somebody off in a building somewhere in Springfield, Missouri. They know who we are, and they are able to connect with us. I just think it's so positive.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time, my friend. One last time, how do they get more information? What's one go-to email, resource, website, whatever it might be they can go to? Can you repeat that?
Yeah, absolutely. KidMinHydrate.com is where you're going to find everything. And when you're there, that's also our AG KidMin, website. You're just on one page of it. So there's blogs in there. There's all kinds of stuff that they can find that would help them right away. But that's where they see everything you're going to need to see, including the schedule and all the video titles and everything that has to do with Hydrate.
Awesome. Awesome. Kelly, thank you for your time, my friend. God bless you.
I appreciate the opportunity. God bless you guys. And Sean, I'll see you soon, man.
Yep. See you, man.
Take care.
Be blessed.
How long was that? 25?
It's still recording.
Well,
Listen, we're all having trouble with this, ain't we? Don't know what to do. Connection lost, really?
so that's going to the that box on the walls, the
I may
server.
just have to just turn the box off.
Yeah.
Did the mouse die?
Maybe, but I don't. Okay, you'll have the shortest person in here.
It's on the right corner. The right corner, yeah.